This is my video, how to get back to writing after a break. There I was sitting right after college, sitting with a notebook in front of me. I had been talking about how much I loved writing and journaling and reading since I had gotten to college. This is the moment when I realized that I hadn't done anything. I hadn't read for fun or written for fun in almost a year. The thing about college is no one tells you that you run the risk of losing a lot of the hobbies that you really liked. This video is one of the many ways that I've used to motivate myself to get back to writing, because if you're talking about writing, then you're going to be thinking about writing, and then you're going to actually want to go write. Number 1. Figure out your long-term goals and then break it down into measurable little steps. I'm a teacher, and one of the annoying things that they drill into your head about writing lesson plans and that sort of thing is that you need to have tangible objectives. First things first, you got to figure out what is your long-term goal, and then you have to figure out little objectives or little goals, I guess, along the way. The same thing can be applied to writing. You have to make sure that they are tangible goals. They are things that you can literally measure out and then check off a to-do list. They're not just these big amorphous blobs, right? Because, for example, how frustrating would it be for a teacher to try to grade you based off of just like looking at you and trying to read your mind to figure out if you learned a concept about the quadratic formula just by looking at you. They can't do that. So you have to prove it. If you're a teacher, you have to prove it by giving your students a test or a quiz or an exit ticket or whatever. This is not an education video, so moving on. The point is that if you work towards something that's measurable, you're more likely to actually do it. That's why people who say, I want you to go to the gym 3 times a week, are more likely to actually stick to the New Year's resolutions than the people who say, I want to exercise more. Because at the end of the day, what is more? It's a subjective term. Your goal needs to be objective. You either meet it or you don't, or you get close. So ask yourself, what is something that you can measure to make your goal obtainable? Now, what is your long-term goal? Do you want to get published? Do you want to finish writing a book and get an agent by the end of the year? Do you, 10 years from now, do you want to be a full-time writer? Or do you want to just submit some poems to some magazines to get published? What do you want to get out of writing? Once you figure that out, then you can break everything down. And then you can figure out what is your short-term goal that is attainable. It's very important that you keep it realistic. You will not write 10 books in the span of a month. I'm sorry, someone had to tell you. Ask yourself, what is something you can measure to make your goal attainable? Do you want to be able to write 5,000 words in an hour? If you do that, good luck. Do you want to write that first part of a YA Penguin thriller trilogy that you've been talking about for years? Are you trying to get 3 new fan fictions churned out before the year is up? Once you figure that out, the rest is kind of easy. Number 2, create a space and a schedule for your work. Pick a window of time for you to start writing. The writing should be part of a predictable routine. I try to find at least half an hour to work on a project. I use the term work on a project as opposed to just writing, because I feel as long as you're working on your story, regardless of where you are in the actual writing process, if you're revising, if you're just researching and world building, as long as you're working on your project and it is in your mind, you are doing something to make that, to get one step closer to that goal, I consider that part of the writing process. Then you're going to find a place in your home or your room, depending on what you're working with, for you to do your writing. Make your desk as cozy or as organized as possible so you know when you go into this space, you are here to write. You can even take it a step further and find an outfit that makes you feel like a writer. Maybe it's a really pretty scarf or a cute little cardigan or pretty earrings or something like that. Find something that makes you take on the persona of a writer. Dr. Karen Pine, a fashion psychologist, yes, I did not know that was a thing until now, once said, when we put on a garment of clothing, we tend to adopt the characteristics associated with that garment. A lot of clothing has symbolic meaning for us, whether it's professional work attire or relaxing weekend gear. So if you're trying to write, maybe wearing pajamas maybe not gonna help you feel productive, or maybe that's what makes you feel like you're a writer. It's the same thing as when you're getting ready for work. Do you put on a suit or do you put on your jogging gear? If you put on, you know, your sports wear and your leggings and stuff, are you more likely to go to that yoga class? Yeah, probably. You feel like that's what you're supposed to do in itself. Tip 3. Figure out what helps and distracts you. Find something that gets you in the mood to write and use it as a tool to motivate you. I noticed that whenever I watch authortube videos, for example, I almost immediately am put in the mood to write, or at least talk about writing in some capacity. Or, you know, also sometimes they just get me in the zone to think about publication, editing, that sort of thing. Another thing you can do is try to find other tools to help you as well. One of the things I did was I got one of those little voice to text things that you can get on the App Store. I'll provide a link to the one that I use. And I just kind of ramble about it. It's just like me talking about my different experiences and different stories. And I know a lot of people, like my dad likes to write too, and that's one of his issues. It's just physically like having your brain keep up with, you know, having your hand and your typing fingers being able to keep up with your brain and all the things going on. So that might be something that's helpful to you as well. Also, think about what things also distract you. Are you working with the TV on? Is that really helping you? Is working with music getting you in the zone, or are you getting distracted and singing along? Figure out the things that distract you and figure out what motivate you. Focus on what motivates you and try to limit yourself to distractions. Tip 4, set a deadline. Come on, do it. Say it. Say your goal. Set a reasonable amount of time to get it done. This usually is where things fall apart. You won't be able to get a book done in a week. Don't make your goal to have a new novel done overnight. You'll set yourself up to be disappointed. A lot of people either don't set deadlines for themselves, or they set unrealistically short deadlines for themselves, and then they get frustrated and then they just never really try again. Don't do that to yourself. The existence and success of NaNoWriMo proves that it is possible to write a novel, or at least 500 words, in a month. So you can kind of use that as a basis. About a month or two for a book, a week or two for a short story, whatever floats your boat. Poems, I don't really have experience with setting deadlines for poems. It just kind of happens. So maybe a poem takes you like 2 days to write. Who knows? Kind of gauge how much, you know, how much time you'll need based off of this. And after you set your goal, I recommend putting it somewhere you can see it. Now this can be on social media, so that way your friends and family know and they try to hold you accountable, because there's nothing more embarrassing than having your grandma see it and that you set a goal for yourself, like to finish a book, and then she brings it up at a family reunion. This is a very effective tool because no one likes being embarrassed at family reunions. Put it in your Google Calendar, write it down in your planner, whatever floats your boat. But you need to be able to see it and have it written down what you want, because you have it posted somewhere where you're going to see it relatively frequently, or at least get notifications about it. You will be reminded of your goal and you will start training yourself to work at it, because it will just be a reminder there and you'll see it and you'll go, oh yeah, that's right, I have to do that. Tip 5, hold yourself accountable. You have 3 options. Reward yourself for achieving a goal, punish yourself for not achieving the goal, or you can kind of do a mix of both. What is something you enjoy? Turn your distraction into a reward. For example, I like to watch shows on Netflix. I love to watch The Great British Baking Show, but I need to work on my novel. So guess what I'm gonna do? I'm going to reward myself after I finish a chapter with an episode of The Great British Baking Show. Maybe you like candy. Maybe you like stickers. After you write 1,000 words, you give yourself a little sticker. I love stickers. Stickers are great. For reward, so like I was saying, for reward, you can try something simple like putting stickers on your planner, like I just mentioned, like Alexa done. Something I like to do is get myself a new video game, or sometimes get a manicure, and I give myself a little reward for achieving that goal. Try to keep levels to your reward system to give yourself more motivation to keep going. So for example, you could, after you write 1,000 words or you edit, 10 pages, you give yourself a sticker on your calendar. Then if you have at least 1 sticker on each day of the week, you can take yourself out to dinner or buy yourself some new cute shoes. Jenna Maressi is a YouTuber who kind of goes other way. She does a mix of both, where she holds herself accountable by making a video every 3 months or every quarter, and what goals she did and did not achieve in that quarter. She says in her videos she's using public humiliation as a motivation to get stuff done, and she also rewards herself by like a date night or something like that. My 6th tip for today is tell yourself it's okay if it's not good. Fear of failure is one that stops most people from achieving their dreams. Most people are scared to write because they don't want to fail at it, or they just assume that they're going to be bad at it, and so they don't want to even try. I found a lot of times that the fear that I'm not good enough comes from my anxiety. Nobody has told me that I'm going to fail. It's just I'm scared to. So I try to think of this fear, this like anxiety, as like, it's like my brain is like that command center in Inside Out, right? And you have all the different emotions and stuff running around, and everybody is kind of like the little command center in Star Trek, you know, you're cruising around, and anxiety, or that fear, those fears, that like insecurity is like a dog. Like, you know, if you have a dog, you know exactly what I'm talking about, because dogs just have this weird time of day. It's like the witching hour when they get out and they start running around like crazy and they mess up everything in the house. You know, you just cleaned and now there's dog fur everywhere, you know, there's papers all over the place. That anxiety and that fear, those insecurities and everything, it's a dog. It's that dog going crazy in your mind. It's running around and it's stopping you from doing what you want to do. You know, the dog means well. I love dogs. I'm a dog person. The dog means well. Doesn't mean to hurt you, but sometimes it gets out and it just messes stuff up a little bit. So I try to think of my anxiety as a dog that's just running around, and once I realize that's what it is, then that's when I can take control of this situation, and I can put the anxiety dog back in its cage or back in its little area and fence it in and let it, you know, have me worry about rational things instead of, you know, making me feel insecure and cry and stuff like that. Remember, the fact that you're writing something means you are already on your way to success. You are already on your way to getting better. You can make something better in editing. Most people go through several drafts, and anyone who tells you they only write one draft, it's probably lying. That's the tea. Margaret Atwood said in her writing masterclass, "The waste paper basket is your friend. Take it easy on yourself. You can clean it up in editing if it's not that good. I clean up what I write all the time in editing. It's fine. I love editing. I would 100% rather edit something that already exists than write something from scratch. It's okay if your writing isn't the best, but it's not okay to let that fear that you're not the best hold you back." Tip number 7 is know it's okay if your writing time isn't always spent literally writing. Now, I kind of hinted to this before, but I want to elaborate on it a little bit. It's okay if you have to take a break to fill the well after a project. A lot of authors kind of create this facade of efficiency and being really prolific and writing, literally writing, tap, 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 all the time. And that's just not realistic. I love writing. It's one of my favorite things to do. One of, not the only thing I do. It's okay if you finish writing a project that you don't go immediately to the next one. It's okay if you have several projects going at once and you just want to take a break and read a book. If you don't take breaks, you will burn yourself out. You can't pour from an empty cup. It's okay if you spend your designated writing time revising or researching and not literally writing. You're still working towards your overall goal. Sometimes that's all you can do. My last tip for today before I go is remember to have fun. This is something that is supposed to be fun that you do. If you are watching this video, you probably already enjoy writing. It shouldn't be really, really stressful. You know, a little stress here and there is good. It's okay, but stressing yourself out, it's not going to do you any good. It's not going to make you a better writer if you burn yourself out or don't take care of yourself. It's not going to make you more successful if you stay up all night finishing that chapter than if you go to bed because you're tired. You shouldn't be stressing yourself out. If you're stuck in the outlining phase, just do it. Alright, that's all I got for you today. If you want more content like this, please hit that like button and subscribe for more fabulous content. And of course, happy writing!